Have you watched the House of the Dragon series, Part 1? If you are waiting for a lot of war, dragons and fire, and also the charismatic Daemon Targaryen and Creston Cole, one of the strongest warriors, I am afraid to spoil your hopes, but we did not find Creston Cole, but Crispy Cole and Daemon Targaryen are marginalized. What is the story?
Sir Crispin, wasn't it?
Sir Creston Cole, my prince.
Ah, yes, apologies. I couldn't recall.
There is a real problem with House of the Dragons, which is the flatness of the characters. Anyone who has read the epic series created by the mind of George Martin will see the amazing amount of precision and ingenuity that Martin possessed. His legendary talent made him able to create an independent universe with history and present, mysteries, drama, families, and magic. Most importantly, there are great characters whose most distinctive feature is the grayness. They are human beings with good and evil in them, not creatures straight out of grandmother's tales. In the Game of Thrones series, we suffered from the heinous injustice of one of the most complex and dangerous characters in the world of ice and fire. Euron Greyjoy, the king of the Ark of Silence and the owner of the Dragon's Trumpet, who miraculously turned into a ridiculous clown. It seems that the makers of the House of Dragons are following the example of their ancestors, committing dramatic massacres. Truly rich and wonderful characters, such as Aemon the One-Eyed, Daemon Targaryen, the Monster of Dragons, and of course the commander of the Royal Guard and Hand of the King, Creston Cole. Martin had mentioned Cole years before the existence of the House of Dragons in a dialogue between the Keeper of the Covenant, Jaime Lannister, and Loras Tyrell, the Knight of the Roses, in the Book of Feast for Crows. Here is the dialogue. Loras: heroes always remember the best. Jaime: the best, the worst, and a few who were a little bit of this and that, like him. Loras: who is this? 10 black balls with a crimson background. I don't know this symbol. Jaime: this is the symbol of Creston Cole, who served Viserys I, and Aegon too, and they called him the Kingmaker. This dialogue, despite its simplicity, made clear something very important, which is that Creston Cole was a great personality and the pride of the Royal Guard, a person who created glory out of nothing. Cole was not the son of a lord, nor a brother to a king, nor a Dornish prince. He was a solid and cruel man, a more complex character. From just Alicent Hightower's secret lover, if Cole had received enough attention, the series would have included another Tywin Lannister, a character she loves and fears without knowing why. I do not blame the writer as much as I blame the actor himself, Lena Headey, who embodied the most despicable character in the world of Game of Thrones, Cersei, the savage, foolish queen who possessed a small sparkle in her soul of maternal love, that faint glimmer, which Headey cleverly exploited to force us to sympathize, understand, and love. Cersei. It is very unfortunate that a character of this depth was subjected to such flatness. We can now understand the disappointment of George Martin, who was no longer able to complete his epic after all this frustrating representation of his vast imagination. The 5th episode of the 2nd season, Fire Dragon. An introductory episode for what is to come in the remaining 3 episodes, which will undoubtedly be fiery episodes. The episode was definitely not that strong, especially since the season only has 3 episodes left because the producers, unfortunately, shortened the number of episodes from 10 to 8. If the season had been 10 episodes, when I had an objection to the episode, but the season was starting to close, and so far the events are less than expected, but God willing, they will be compensated in the upcoming episodes. Let us talk briefly about each axis of the episode in a brief manner, and then we will detail them in detailed posts. Daemon's focus is taken into account in the text of the episode. Literally, Daemon is the disappointment of the season because of the provocative marginalization he was subjected to. Daemon is the character with the highest popularity and the most anticipated in the season, and he is the strongest and best character in the story, according to George R. Martin's opinion, but unfortunately 5 episodes of the season have ended. Its focus is dull and boring and is an expression of meaningless repetition and stretching. The focus of the capital and everything in it was good, especially the scenes with Aemond, as well as the scene of revealing Aegon's wound and injury, except for the final scene of the video and how the maid was able to enter the capital in all randomness and absurdity, and of course the same thing was repeated with Rhaenyra. Bro, she feels like Superman's messiah and is able to allow anyone to enter the capital in a way magical and illogical. Rhaenyra's axis. The last scene in the dialogue between Rhaenyra and Jaehaerys was the most important scene in the entire episode, and the way it was presented was beautiful. Rhaenyra's scenes may be boring, but they were important scenes for building her character and clarifying the psychological conflict within her personality. Our characters are not war robots, they are humans in the end, and it is necessary the focus is mainly on this aspect. The story of the world of Game of Thrones, as we know it, is not just wars and battles. Rather, it is based on characters and dialogues. Unfortunately, the dialogues never rise to the level. So far, we have watched 5 episodes out of 8, and there is no good dialogue or quote, but literally, and there is no dialogue that I remember or stuck in my memory. And on. The level of the characters is different. The characters of Aemond, Egan, Rhaenyra, and Jaehaerys, their construction and presentation are very wonderful. On the other hand, the characters of Daemon, Criston Cole, and Alicent were bad. The episode has a very low rating and is the second worst episode in the series in terms of rating after the third episode. Unfortunately, the second season, with the exception of the 4th episode, did not rise to the level of the first season, most of whose episodes were legendary and terrible. In general, we are waiting for the next episodes, which will undoubtedly all be at a high level. Fire Dragon. What do you think of the episode?